Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The topic of my talk is water cycle. In order to understand what is water cycle, we need to know what is evaporation and what is condensation. Now our first question is what is evaporation? Whenever we boil water at home, what we observe that the water changes into steam or water vapor. This changing into steam or water vapor is called evaporation. Now we need to know what is condensation. Whenever we cover that boiling water with the lid, what we observe that on the inner surface of the lid there is a tiny droplet of water. Now our question is why there is a tiny droplet of water? Because the steam of the water or water vapor cools down and these water vapor changes into tiny droplets of water, and this process of changing into tiny droplets of water is called condensation. Now what is water cycle? The heat of the sun warms the water and it turns into gases, that is called water vapor. The process of changing the water into gases is called evaporation. As we know, gases are lighter than liquid, so these water vapor will rise up into the sky. And these water vapor will cools down into the sky and changes into tiny droplets of water. And the process of changing into tiny droplets of water is called condensation. And actually condensation is opposite of evaporation. Now these tiny droplets of water will form a cloud. And these tiny droplets of water will pump each other and will stick each other and form a big drop of water. And it will make clouds heavy. Then these water drops will fall onto the ground as a rain. And every single raindrop that reaches the ground is made up of 1 million of the original tiny droplets of water. So in this process, it will rain and again the cycle will continue through the process of evaporation and through the process of condensation. This cycle is known as water cycle. Let me talk about a brief history of water cycle. People till 16th century had no knowledge about hydraulic cycle or water cycle. But in 1580, Sir Bernard Palissy, he was the first person who introduces the concept of hydrological cycle. But amazingly, in 7th century, Quran explains in a great detail about hydraulic cycle. So let us look that.
ويجعله كسفا فترى الودق يخرج من خلاله فإذا أصاب به من يشاء من عباده إذا هم يستبشرون.
Chapter 30, verse 48. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who sends the winds and they stir the clouds and spread them in the sky however He wills, and He makes them fragments, so you see the rain emerge from within them, and when He causes it to fall upon whom He wills of His servant, immediately they rejoice. This verse means the the water is raised as a water vapor from various water bodies. Then it forms as a cloud. Then it rains due to condensation. Let us look another verse of Quran.
وأنزلنا من السماء ماء بقدر فأسكناه في الأرض وإنا على ذهاب به لقادرون.
The verse is taken from chapter 23, verse 18. And we sent down water from the sky according to due measure, and we caused it to soak into the soil, and we certainly are able to drain it off with ease. This verse means it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who sent water from the sky in the form of rain, and it is He who soaked the water into the soil, and whenever we need water, we can drain underground water and fulfill our needs.